Hello everyone, greetings from National Skills Network, Hyderabad. We are continuing with our talks with experts, and this time we are looking at the academic angle for welding, higher education and research in India. And we have with us Professor Dr. Vishvesh J Badheka, who's the Professor and Head, Department of Mechanical Engineering, School of Technology, Pandit Deendayal Energy University, Gujarat. So, sir, welcome to this talk, and we would like this talk to be like a starting of a series of dialogues, perhaps where we want to connect the hands-on practical welding with higher education and research.
Sure.
We see that in India, first of all, welding is perceived as something which is a messy kind of work. In fact, some people call it dirty job, dirty work. So from that perception to having a vision where we can show a path, a career path, or a path towards academic excellence and research, say in terms of higher education, how do you think we can overcome this huge divide that we have in popular perception about welding?
So first of all, I would like to thank you for giving this opportunity to having a conversation with your organization. And as far as your question is concerned, here I would like to address with the development in all aspects of engineering. Welding is also progress has been taken place a lot. With reference to the development of the industry 4.0 as well as the welding automations. So now the earlier manual welding was very common. With the development of the mechanization, automation and robotics. Now there are many welding processes where this mechanization automations has been clubbed.
Okay.
So welding has reached to a level wherein the sophistication has achieved. So you are sitting at your office at the desktop only, you have a dashboard wherein you are getting all sort of observations in terms of the voltage, current, welding speed. So from that perspective, I would like to add here that the welding process or the welding control and the welding development has become very sophisticated.
Okay.
So yeah, please.
Yeah. Also, I think we got a glimpse of this sophistication you're talking about because one of our partners, Fronius India Limited, in fact, they are the ones who have facilitated this conversation with you. Since we work with them to complement their marketing efforts, communication efforts, we have seen few tools and also few demos which are highly sophisticated and so much into industry 4.0 type of integrated tools and stuff. So what you said, I think is, something like the current state of welding technology. And I guess this also has a role to play in making it aspirational, in showing that welding is one of the high-tech kind of sectors.
In fact, I would like to bring into the notice that how I get welded with this welding field.
Okay.
So, and then probably I'll come to the question which you have asked.
Sure.
So, in fact, when I was a student of third year at MS University, Baroda, my professor, Professor Agarwal, he mentioned that this Indian Institute of Welding Baroda branch is about to start in 1998. Okay. And that time I was in third year. So okay. Professor Agarwal mentioned this thing in the classroom. And then he mentioned that those students who are interested in joining the professional body. So then later on, I had a detailed discussion with him and I got attracted with the professional body. And about 5-6 students from the class of 40, they joined IIW. And then slowly, the evening lectures by the professional body, the interaction with the professionals who are in the field. So that professional network is helping the student like anything. Now okay. this is how, so my submission to all the youngsters and the students is that depending on your interest, it is not something that you need, whatever may be your interest. If it is material science, you join yourself with the material science professional body. If your interest is in the welding, you enroll yourself as a student only, not when you become a full-fledged professional. You join yourself, attract with the professional body. And this professional body network is going to help you like anything. Probably you may realize the benefit only by the time you achieve the fruit and reach to a level. Now, as far as your another question, wherein I would like to mention that welding production engineers, metallurgists, mechanical engineers, mechatronics, including the recent one like computer science and ICT, these different specialization. So welding is a field wherein all engineers, most of the engineers are required, I would say. It's a multidisciplinary field wherein there is a, say for example, when you talk about automation or mechanization, the robotics peoples are required or mechatronics peoples are required. You talk about the data capturing or IoT based technology, the computer science peoples are required. The mechanical, metallurgists, production engineers, they have the core role to play. So this is how the different disciplines, they merge together when it comes to the welding science and technology.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice explanation of how various disciplines come together. And I guess that is what gives it that richness as a discipline, right? Because there is a mixing of so many expertise, so much of expertise from various domains. Sir, so in this backdrop now, if we have to go back and look at bringing industry and academia closer, like you represent the academia, I'm sure you've had a lot of interaction with the industry. And when we want to bring it closer and show a path to students who are, let's say, interested in metallurgy or manufacturing sciences or manufacturing technologies, do you think there is a way to do this in a smoother way and open up new channels and avenues?
Correct, madam. It's a very nice question. Just to add on here, as I mentioned in the previous question, that earlier, for the training of the welder, we have a very conventional way of training the welder, that will take the welder to the machine and the welder has to develop the understanding. He has to practice. He has to burn a lot of consumables, and then we'll train them. So nowadays, the welding simulators are there in the market. So these welding simulators is again a industry 4.0. The moment the welder is performing the trial runs, we are getting his assessment. We are not wasting our consumables. We are not wasting the in terms of the consumables, like it not only the electrodes, but the substrate as well as the shielding gases and all those things. And at the same time, we are getting the assessment very clearly. So from a welder training perspective also, these welding simulators are coming in a big way, starting from ITI. Say, for example, if the ITI students need to train on a welding, there are various modules you have in those simulators for SMAW modules, GMAW modules, GTAW modules. So from a training perspective also, this particular field has reached to a level where the sophistication has been achieved.
Okay.
In addition to that, as per your second question, now earlier, we have our understanding that the welding means just metal joining. We understand that the moment somebody talks about the welding, we understand one aspect which is called metal joining.
Right.
In addition to that, this welding processes, with reference to the recent development, they have been reported for additive manufacturing also.
Okay.
There are certain welding processes which has a potential to utilize them for additive manufacturing of metals. Say, for example, the most widely utilized process is gas metal arc welding, the cold metal transfer. These are the processes which has been reported for additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is nothing but the layer by layer deposition. So which is quite easy. And one of the highly progressive field in the current situation is additive manufacturing. So the welding and additive manufacturing, they go hand to hand. They are linked with each other. The one who has developed the core expertise in the area of metallurgy, welding processes, they are the one who can easily switch over to the additive manufacturing of the metal. So especially the arc welding processes like shielded metal arc welding or your gas metal arc welding, then even submerged arc welding and plasma arc welding processes, which has been the recent development wherein these processes were utilized for additive manufacturing of metals.
Okay, so when you say additive manufacturing, isn't it the same as what we call as 3D printing?
Yes, madam. It is 3D printing and additive manufacturing. You can say they are synonyms. Okay. And 3D printing, when 3D printers, I would say to specify the difference between these two terms, 3D printing is more common when we work with plastics. Okay. And the additive manufacturing of metal is a term which is more common when we talked about the metal printing. Okay, and commercial application part. So that's how there are slight difference in terms of, otherwise they are same. In both the process, we do layer by layer deposition. In one case, it is plastic. In one case, it is metal. Now, the metal which is being deposited, which is either in the form of powder, wire, or a plate itself.
Yeah. So like you said, we when we read as lay people, most of us who are not into this particular field, we find them to be used synonymously, both. But the way you explained it is pretty clear now.
Right.
So from here, if we have to talk about, like application of research, maybe you can connect this with your university and perhaps give us an example. So how is the research here contributing to the industry, the manufacturing industry particularly? And if you have to, give us a very simplified kind of an example, it would be good, because I want people to understand that welding is not just a small practical skill. It has a huge path, which you can follow and really do a lot of research and get worldwide, contribute in a big way, I mean, to the entire world. So maybe you can give us an example here.
Sure.
Yeah.
So looking at the application perspective, I take one example wherein the general audience will easily understand. Say, for example, if you look at the number of resistance spot welded joints in one car body, which would be in the range of 3,000 to 5,000.
Okay.
So in one car body, resistance spot welding is a process which has been extensively utilized in the car body manufacturing. And if you look at the number of the spots which is being made in one car, is in the range of 3,000 to 5,000 spots.
Okay.
So this is what we can understand the magnitude of the welding in the manufacturing industry. Being one of the progressive field like welding, additive manufacturing, the applications of the welding day by day is increasing like anything. Now, because the process has also reached to a sophistication level. At the same time, the welding processes are equally useful, not only in the regular fabrication work, wherein we started our discussion with the welding is such a dirty work, wherein the window, the gate, and frames, and all those are the routine jobs are there. But you look at the space technology, you look at the atomic energy. These are the defense, wherein the metallurgy, welding, metal joining processes, additive manufacturing, they play a very important role.
Yeah, that's true. So I think this thought is also echoed by, Mr. Kamath, who's the MD of Fronius. I've had several conversations with him, and he always says there's no part in our life, or there's no domain in our life which is not touched by welding, because every small thing we do, I think, is touched by welding. So that's a good example. But the thing is, I think, so we don't realize that there is so much of it, in whatever we use. Like you gave the example of a car, right from a car to a plane to a ship. I'm sure it's there everywhere, right? So maybe again, I would like to come back to the same thing about industry academia collaboration. You already mentioned ITIs. Now, when we look at the curriculum in India, the kind of welding courses that are offered, they get trained to become like a, entry-level welder and all. In case you have to visualize, a path for these people, how do you think they can grow? Like if, let's say, we want them to go for higher education, maybe some of them are innovative, they come up with their solutions. So is there a way, we can really bring them up and also add this aspirational value to the profession as they grow?
Sure. See, industry academia interaction, probably the bridge can be made by the professional body. As I mentioned earlier, this professional body play a very important role. At the same time, the students, those who are pursuing those who are in the final year, and if they are interested in building their career in the welding or a production or a mechanical, or a design, depending on their interests, they can take a project with the industry.
Okay.
Now, in the final year, the entire 6 months in the last semester, they can spend with the industry. Okay. Now, this 6 months association with the industry help them to develop the various, because the academic environment and the industrial environment, there is a difference.
Right.
So when they really join as a professional after 4 years of BTech program, so in order to reduce the environmental differences, if they can spend that 6 months in the industry as an project interns, this will help them to bridge the gap at the same time, the students or interns would be industry ready. The industry can make use of those professionals immediately without imparting subsequent training, because they are already trained during their engineering program itself.
Yeah.
In addition to that, say for example, in our university, we have a provision that we invite the 10% of the syllabus is being conducted by the industry professional. So about 4 to 5 lectures in each course is to be handled by the industry professional, so that there is a interaction that whatever the course which you are learning, how it is linked with the industry, what is the relevance of this course in the industry. So those aspects would be delivered by the industry professional in the regular curriculum, and that helps us to reduce the gap between the industry and academia.
Yeah, and also like in welding, today we talk about virtual welding. You already mentioned about simulators. And again, I'm quoting the example of, institutes like ITIs and, those at the starting level where there is a lot of focus on welding training. And of course, like BTech, you mentioned, even in engineering colleges, etc., where we are looking at options to have blended forms of learning. And post-COVID, as we are aware, this has become like a necessity now. So what has been your experience in, in teaching like this, or what do you propose can be a very good form of blending the entire teaching method or curriculum, like say classroom practicals and online learning and assessments, evaluation and other things?
Yeah, so especially in engineering, the laboratory component is very important. And for example, in any academic institutions, like there is a weightage of 60% is a classroom teaching and 40% is the practical.
Yeah.
So that practical component has to be handled in the laboratory only. Normally, because of this COVID-19 situation, it is difficult, but still, we used to make those recording in advance. Okay. And then we used to deliver those lab sessions in the on a digital platform. Now, but then, what we have found that their understanding is and the feel what they have in operating the machines, that is missing. So in order to reduce that loss which has incurred because of COVID-19 situation, now the students have recently finished their semester, and before the beginning of the new semester, there is a gap of about 2 weeks. So these 2 weeks we are utilizing for imparting the skills, depending on the student's interest. Say, for example, if I'm a student, I'm interested in CNC machining or a 3D printing or a welding, I can spend entire week in developing that skill. And in the second week, I can take another skill. So that's how we can reduce the gap in terms of the classroom teaching and the laboratory exposure.
Yeah, that's true. And I think this is something which our audience also might consider as a takeaway from this conversation, where we are exploring, where many people are exploring how to offer blended forms of, courses, particularly in skills like welding, where you combine the practicals, the virtual medium, and also the classroom. So now you were talking about professional communities already. Now my question also connects with that. So if you can share a vision that you have to build a community of welders, where we create this as a platform where there can be communication, there can be interaction between welders who are actually, hands-on welders, as well as those like you who have been, researching and going deeper and deeper into the discipline. And like you mentioned, multidisciplinary professors or faculty members who can come together, and of course researchers. What would be your vision? Do we have such bodies in India already, or how do we get to create this kind of a platform?
Yeah, this platform, say for example, the platform for welders to the professionals or to the experienced person, this platform is already made available by the professional body called Indian Institute of Welding, wherein any professional or a welder, they can become a member of Indian Institute of Welding. They can connect themselves very easily with the nominal charges. And then they will get in touch with those professionals who are part of various industries. Because in the professional body, you will get the professionals not only from the heavy manufacturing, you will get the professional from automobile industry through the testing and inspection. So all and academia as well. So the professional body is like a mixture of industry, academia, and at the same time, you are getting the professional from across the industries, starting from heavy industry to the sheet metal manufacturing to the automobile industries. And that probably helped them to evolve as a more professional in their subsequent career. In addition to that, there are many education institutions. They do offer programs like mechanical engineering, metallurgical engineering, and then production engineering. I have a proposal that there has to be one dedicated elective in the area of welding science and technology. Now, welding is a field which is being termed for metal joining, but in addition to the metal joining, say cladding, surfacing, hard facing, this is another area which is very important under the welding industry. In addition to that, as I mentioned, there is a repair and maintenance is a third important area. Through welding processes, you can do repair and maintenance also. And as I mentioned, the fourth one, which is coming up, which is additive manufacturing. So we should not restrict welding just for metal joining. As I mentioned, these are the sub areas. So syllabus has to be framed in a such a way, these all subcomponents should be taken care. In addition to that, one should have the industry relevant topics like WPS PQR, welding inspector requirements, those qualification, destructive testing, non-destructive testing, all those things should be part of your syllabus. And then all the students who are coming out from the education institution, they have a better theoretical exposure.
Theoretical as well as I'm sure they will gain a practical experience also while they do the practicals. So in other words, what you're trying to say is it has to be industry relevant and current curriculum where you're matching the needs of the industry so that when they get employed, when they go on to the job, they will not have to train them so much again. Of course, there is some amount of training, but I think not the entire thing, you know. So I think this makes perfect sense. And the entire vocational segment, I guess, needs this kind of, curriculum modernization or updating because the industry is so dynamic that the changes keep happening. So besides these points that you just shared with us, is there something else you would want to share on our platform?
I would like to mention here from my university perspective, that in our university, this university, Pandit Deendayal Petroleum University, was started in 2007. And very recently, our present Prime Minister, he requested us to rename as Pandit Deendayal Energy University. So with his suggestion, now the revised name of the university is Pandit Deendayal Energy University. And we have a BTech program and mechanical and automobile engineering. And here we have a dedicated welding research lab. Now, this welding research lab has been developed with the funding of various central government funding agencies. University is very supportive in terms of execution of these projects and smooth running of the projects. We got the funding from Indian Space Research Organization. We got the funding from DRDO, Department of Science and Technology, Board for Research in Nuclear Science. So we have a dedicated welding research lab here. And the funding given by the central government about 1.5 crore and above. And this setup which has been developed is available for all the students. So far, this particular research lab, about 30 plus students of other universities, they have utilized this setup or the experimental facility for their master's dissertation. And about 12 students have finished their PhD utilizing this experimental facility here. So my invitation is open to all the youngsters and the students, those who are watching this conversation, to, in case if you want any support in the area of welding, you feel free to interact with me. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that open invitation. I hope we can send out this message to all the young people who are interested. Like you mentioned, your passion for welding, how you got into this particular profession and then grew into research and became an academician. I'm sure there'll be quite a few who would want to try out few things, and we'll be happy to share. And we'll be sharing, if required, your details with them if they reach out to us, so that they can contact you. Thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your views, your experience, and also telling us a bit about about your university and the kind of dedicated efforts you're putting in to encourage research and higher education in welding. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.